Alright, this is the work we're going to do today. This one was stamped on stamp board. It's a 5" by 3.5" stamp board. Okay, and these were the stamps that were used. The cabin is from the Nature Set 16. The path is from Nature Set 10. The windmill is from Nature Set 16. The filler grass is Nature Set 10. The foreground grass is from Nature Set 9. The filler up trees was from Nature Set 6. And then the little grass and flowers that I used to add texture to the piece. The two grasses are from the Art Impressions Foliage set, and the small flowers are from the Art Impressions Mini Flower set. And these are the different inks and markers that were used. Okay, I stamped everything out first on a piece of typing paper just to see how well everything's going to work. And so I guess let's begin. Okay, when I ink this up, I'm going to want to leave out the slats in the fence between this because this is where the path is going to go through. Oops. And I've got things kind of backwards. I wanted to stamp it further that way, but I guess we will adjust things as we go. And so you see I stamped it backwards, so I guess we're going to have this on this side now. So I will ink this up. Okay, now I want to see how I'm going to want to place this now that everything has been changed. And I think I'll place it about like this so that the end will still go through the opening I left in that. So in order to do this, I'm going to use my stamp positioner. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just ink up this side here, maybe these first 4 trees. Okay, and then I'll use my filler grass. Okay, unfortunately there's a tree right behind the windmill. And so I'm going to try and clear some of that off. Okay, and I'm going to use the fine tip of my Memento marker to just complete this little bush here that wasn't completed. Okay, now I'm going to color in the trees with some Copic markers. I'm going to use G24 and G28. I'll start. Okay, now we'll use the G28. I think I'll put some more G24. Okay, and I'm also going to add some E34 with the G24. I'll also use some of this for the path. And I'll also use some E31. And I'll use some E37. And I'll use some E34, the lighter one. And I want the ground to come about up to here. So I'll take some of the lighter green, the G24, and E31. Okay, I'm going to take some E37, and I want to try and differentiate the windmill from the background trees. Okay, I'm going to take some Stampin' Up! Garden Green, and I'm going to take the Art Impressions Large Grass from the Foliage set, and I'm just going to stamp along the bottom. Then I'll also take this small grass Okay, I'm going to take some of my Marvy LePlume II, number 45 Sepia. I'm going to take the fine point tip and I'm just going to kind of draw in the path here to I'll also take my Marvy LePlume number 1, which is black, and I am going to darken these fence posts here. Especially along the bottom where it's mostly the shadow. And I'll take also some Marvy LePlume number 15 and I'm going to color in here to Okay, for the cabin, I'm going to use Copic Markers E55, E57, and E59. And I'll start with the lightest. Okay, the window frames are a bit too dark, so I'm going to try going over them with some E21 to see if I can lighten them up a bit. Okay, for the roof, I'm going to use Copic Markers R56 and R59. Okay, I'm going to take some colorless blender and I'm going to just kind of go across the roof here. Okay, I've got a Q-tip here and I put some alcohol on it. And I'm just going to go over this roof. Okay, and then I'm going to just kind of buff this down a bit. Just with a paper towel. Now I'm going to take some Marvy LePlume number 55 And I'm going to color just the flower portion of my Art Impressions bundle of flowers. And so I'm just coloring this portion right here. And for closer to the cabin, I'm just going to color in the top half of these flowers. Okay, and for the fence, I'm going to use some E37, and then I will blend it in with some E55. Okay, I'm going to use some Marvy LePlume number 86 African Violet. I'm going to use the fine point tip, and I'm going to color in the windows. Okay, I'm going to use some of my G28, and I want to make it really dark here underneath this here. Okay, for the sky, I'm going to use some Stampin' Up! Ink. I'm going to use Pool Party, Marina Mist, and Island Indigo. Okay, I'm going to use a N4 Copic marker to add some more shadows down here below the Okay, and to add a little yellow to the sky, I'm going to use some Stampin' Up! So Saffron. And I think also what I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch out inside these windows. Okay, and now I'm going to take some Y11, orangish one. Let's try some Y19. Okay, and for the tops of these rocks, I want to have a little bit of a highlight just right at the very top. And so I'm going to just scrape that off a little, and maybe also a little on the fence. Okay, I'll use some Distress marker, Pumice Stone, and then I'll add a little bit of color back to these. Y19 again, and add some more color. Okay, now I want to add some grasses to the foreground. So I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black again, and I will ink up. Okay, this window in the front is looking a little too light, so I'm going to use some E55. Okay, and I want to get a little more texture in the grass, so I'm going to use some Stampin' Up! Old Olive. I'm going to use my Art Impressions Small Grass. Okay, I do want to add a little more texture to this path here, so I'm just going to put some dots of my Marvy LePlume number 45 Sepia just to give it a little more texture. And so I'm using the fine tip to get those dots put in there. Okay, and then now I'm going to take my Copic Multiliner 0.3 and sign and date it. I'm going to give this a little chance to dry, and then I'll spray it with my polyurethane spray. Okay, I'm now going to spray this with some polyurethane clear gloss. And I'm outside because I don't want to spray this inside. And so I'm just going to give it a good soaking. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really nice and glossy. Okay, and so I'm going to let this dry for a couple of days before I try and do anything else with it. It's got the polyurethane sprayed on it now, and I hope you enjoyed the video.